Alright, hello guys, how's it going? In today's video, we're going to be talking about our official summer forecast for the summer of 2021. A lot of you have been waiting for this, and finally, I am releasing this video. Anyways, for today's comment of the day, I want to know, how do you hope that this upcoming summer of 2021 goes in your area? Let me know in the comments down below, and I will be picking one of those for tomorrow's video. Let's get straight into this video, and first things first, we're taking a look at our precipitation forecast. We always start out with the precipitation forecast, and as you can see, first things first, we have above average precipitation expected in basically the eastern third here of the country. You take that from Texas up to the Gulf states, and all the way up into the Ohio Valley and a lot of the Great Lakes in the Northeast. All of these areas are anticipated to have above average precipitation this upcoming summer. And this is our first layer. The first layer is where we're a little less confident, but we feel like overall most areas within there will see above average precipitation. In the spring and summer months, it's a little more difficult because one thunderstorm or one lack thereof could completely change, obviously, this forecast. So you can see exactly how difficult this could get and how much things could change. Hurricanes and tropical systems do the same exact thing. We see them come in and they can completely shake up a forecast, obviously. So those are some big game changer things that could change this either slightly or drastically. But given typical circumstances, this is what we would expect to happen. We also have a second shade of that above average precipitation, and this is going to be for most of just the Gulf Coast and the East Coast. And a lot of this does have to do with tropical systems, the possibility for tropical systems. And also, I think the East Coast in general just has a good chance of having some above average precipitation. I think even more than those lighter green areas. So really, just overall, I really do feel confident that these darker green areas are going to see above average precipitation. I feel more confident in these areas than the lighter green areas, and that's why they're the darker green areas and not the lighter green regions. So I hope that makes sense. That's like why I picked these specific regions. It makes sense. I mean, it's just a probability forecast here. So overall, this eastern third of the country, above average precipitation overall. This is a 3-month period, so you might see June have above average precipitation, and then July have below average precipitation, and then August again with the above average precipitation. That is above average overall when you take the mean average of those 3 months that I just gave an example of. So it's not going to be perfect. You're not going to be, it's not going to be just raining constantly, obviously. But overall, once the summer is all said and done, this is what I expect to occur. Now, what we're going to do here is we're going to move on. I'm going to move on to the below average precipitation in just a moment, then the temperature forecast, then the severe weather forecast, and finally that overall forecast. Alright, now first things first, here is our below average precipitation, and as you can see, this lighter kind of tan region is where we expect the slightly below average precipitation to occur, and that's mostly for the Pacific Northwest in through the Rockies and then down through the Four Corner states. A lot of these areas are already very dry. I expect them to be a little bit below their normal even, and that's what this is basically indicating. So this is not just saying it's going to be dry because that's obvious for Arizona, that's obvious for New Mexico, but this means it's going to be actually more dry than what is even typical. And again, this is that first shade, so things can definitely be switched up. My confidence isn't like at top level right now for this below average precipitation. I think more than 50% of the areas that are in this tan region will see below average precipitation, and that's what this is indicating basically, because there will be areas that do see above average precipitation and near normal precipitation as well within this tan region. All right, now let's take a look at that moderately below average precipitation now, and this is where we are even more confident in that below average precipitation. So for a lot of Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Montana, Colorado, Wyoming, Nevada, Utah, and even New Mexico and Arizona there, we expect these areas to be even more below normal, and we're even more confident in those below normal precipitation anomalies. I really do feel like it's going to be a pretty dry summer here for a lot of these regions, especially the brown regions. Again, it's the same thing like it was with the green. The brown here, I'm more confident in this darker brown region than I am in the tan region, and that is all that is indicating. All right, now let's go ahead and take a look at that exciting temperature forecast. And first things first, we're starting right out with those above average temperature anomalies. As you can see, the western third of the country here, we are expecting above average temperatures, and that's spanning over a massive amount of states. Washington, Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, Oregon, Nevada, California, Utah, Colorado there, New Mexico, Arizona, and Texas. That's a whole lot of states there, and they're all expecting to see some above average temperature anomalies. I do expect that it will be warmer than what is normal for these regions. Again, more than 50% of these regions. The temperature is a little bit easier than the precipitation, not going to lie, because it's mostly just a pattern thing. The precipitation is just all over the place in these summer and spring months. So what we're going to do here actually is we're going to move on and we're going to add a second layer to this. We're going to add some more above average temperature regions and even a below average temperature region. And then we're going to get into that severe weather forecast and overall forecast in just a moment. All right, now here we are taking a look at that second layer, and as you can see, for the western coast here of the United States, we expect even further above normal temperature anomalies, and we're even more confident in this kind of more darker orange region rather than that lighter orange region. Another above average temperature region here is the east coast of the United States, and as you can see, we do have that slightly above normal temperature anomaly region here for the eastern United States. And as you can see, this is going to span over many states as well. The Gulf states, the Southeast, the Mid-Atlantic, the East Coast, the Northeast, the Ohio Valley, the portions of the Great Lakes as well, all expected to have at least slightly above normal temperature anomalies. As you can see, we have a second shade here as well for the eastern coast of the United States, and this is again where we're more confident in those above average temperature anomalies. Now, for the below average temperatures, as you can see, for the north central United States, we're expecting below average temperatures here for a lot of these states. So in the summer months, what we have to pay attention to is, well, obviously your average temperature is extremely high, in the 80s and 90s most likely. So if you see 5 degrees below normal in the summer, it's not going to be cold. That's not really possible, but it will be just like a little bit cooler and a little bit less hot on average than what you typically expect. So that's a very, very key thing to note there. It will not be cold, obviously. It's not going to feel like January and June. Don't worry. So this is called an omega pattern here, and this is what we're expecting for the summer of 2021. Now, for the severe weather, this is kind of my forecast. I always make one of these, and this is where I expect the most. I guess this is the biggest chance for above average severe weather based on what I just called for. And this pink region is where we're, again, just kind of thinking there could be some more severe weather in there, but definitely that darker red region, that cherry red region, is where I think the best conditions could set up for some above average severe weather. This does not mean most of the severe weather will occur within there, but this will be an area that could see above average severe weather based on what is typical for your region. Anyway, for our overall forecast, we expect it to be hot for the West Coast and even the surrounding regions, just a little bit less so in those orange regions. I expect it to be dry for the Rockies. You saw that on the precipitation forecast. We expect it to be cooler for the northern plains. Again, you saw that on that temperature forecast, obviously. Severe weather outbreaks are possible within that red region, especially based on what we just called for, with that above average severe weather being possible within there. We see stormy conditions there for that lighter green region. That darker green region down there is also stormy, just a little bit more so than that kind of brighter green region. We see flip-flop for the northeast. It could be cooler at times, hotter at times. This is typical for the summertime. You kind of go back and forth a little bit. And then for the southeast and the east coast, I guess the Gulf Coast and a lot of the east coast there, we're watching the tropics as the hurricane season begins and gets underway. We're going to be watching very closely for some tropical activity throughout the summer of 2021. Anyway, for our confidence tab, we're at the maximum for a seasonal forecast, 4 out of 6 here, guys. I've mentioned time and time again, this is the highest I'll go for a seasonal forecast. Anyway, for today's comment of the day, I asked you guys, how many thunderstorms have you seen this year? Have you seen a below average amount or an above average amount? And I'm not going to go into all of this, but Zeta Derv basically went on this really cool just statement of talking about how she kind of keeps track of these thunderstorms and how it's been below average. You can feel free to read that. I think it's really, really awesome. Anyway, for today's Patron Highlight of the day, I want to thank you all for supporting the channel, but especially our Platinum patrons, John Benbenek, James Wade, Dovey Nagel, Larry the Pan, and Donna Carnes, alongside our Diamond patrons, Bill Roberts, Marcus Connolly, Noah Harley, Michael Kodalessis, Catbite, Charles Stinnett, Cindy Klein, Mark J, Luke Flago, Gary, John Quilisi, and Dwight Phelan. If you want to join that exciting Patreon page, you can do so by clicking that button in the description and in the pinned comments down below, and check it out today. Anyway, for our channel members highlight of the day, I want to thank you all for supporting the channel, but especially our Weather Top Dogs, Hair Farms 1, and Catbite as well. If you'd like to join this, that'll be next to that subscribe button down below. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to destroy the like button. Be sure to leave a comment down below to help that YouTube algorithm out, and be sure to subscribe if you like weather-related content. I will see you guys in the next video. Alright, hello guys, how's it going? In today's video, we're going to be talking about our